Hi everybody, Robert speaking. I'm sitting at home feeling a bit sorry for myself because I've got the COVID again. I had it in 2020 and now I've got it again after multiple vaccinations, but it's very mild this time. You know, we will survive. Our hearts will go on. Thanks very much to Gita. I'm very touched that you included me in your roundup of interesting tarot channels, and I've had a spike in my subscriptions since you made that video, so that's extremely kind of you. I've had a look at Gita's channel and it's very, very nice. There's one video where she talks about her preferences in tarot decks and so forth, and she actually sings it. And so it's a really nice, creative, very relaxed channel, and I highly recommended it. Today, a deck review of a thing called the New American Tarot, and I'm quite pleased that I tracked this down because it seems to be quite a rarity. It's an indie deck. It's made by an artist called David Aaron Smith, and about a year or a bit more than a year ago, when I was really looking around for tarots that I wanted to buy, you know, alternatives to the RWS, I happened upon this tarot somewhere online. I contacted the artist on Instagram and asked him if I could buy a copy, and he said he didn't have any. Then a year later he got back to me and said he had one and he could sell it to me in the post, and so I was very excited. It's nice to get something directly from an artist. It feels like a privilege. What attracted me to it at first, and I'm going to start my flip through. What attracted it to me at first was that it is clearly made by someone who has a real sense of the importance of the RWS. And as you might know, I'm very much an RWS tarot reader. And David Aaron Smith jokes that he's probably a cousin of Pamela Coleman Smith because they're both called Smith. That may be true. I think he's actually pulling our legs there. So as you can see, I was looking for modern looking decks, radical looking decks, just something that would really refresh me and get me out of the rut of, you know, constantly looking at these Pamela Coleman Smith, very nice but thoroughly Edwardian images. And David Aaron Smith's deck is, you might say, aggressively modern. There's the Hierophant giving a TED talk. I was also very attracted to the colours. I wanted something bright and refreshing with a completely different colour palette from the RWS. And, you know, people keep reissuing the RWS with adjusting the colours here and there, but wow. But no matter how much you adjust the colours of the RWS, it's still the RWS, isn't it? It's still old-fashioned colours, and these colours I think are absolutely contemporary. Now I find his major arcana absolutely rock solid and very, very usable. So even though I probably can't use his minor arcana for readings, I could certainly use these. They're absolutely lovely. I like this, I hope I'm allowed to say it, this almost naive style of drawing. And they're very close. I think in one of his videos he actually says that he took the RWS and he traced it, you know. And then he based his very new, very modern images on the RWS images. So you can see the shapes and the body language of the RWS is there in all his pictures. People are in approximately the same position on the screen. What does he say? He says, As an artist, my job is to assemble symbols in a way that strikes people at their core and jolts them into awareness. To strike at the human core, I look to find new incarnations of age-old archetypes. My art is deeply involved with letting the subconscious influence the symbols I create. So I've had a deep interest in tarot from the start. So I think this deck is to be enjoyed as an art piece. Here are his 4 suits. We have boards, which used to be battens. We have bottles, water bottles, which used to be cups. We have guns, which used to be swords. And we have tablets, maybe most controversially, which used to be pentacles. So he has pushed the RWS right into an aggressively modern sort of mythic America that he says he knows from experience and from entertainment. So some of this is sort of, you know, it's beyond just everyday life. It's the images that we get from film and TV. Some of it seems a bit like Tarantino. Okay, so here we are with the suit of boards, and I'm gonna come out here. I'm gonna come clean and say that I find his particular interpretation or reinterpretation of the 4 suits, it's so extreme in a way, and it's so far from what I'm used to that even though I adore it as an art project, I couldn't read with it. He has turned battens into boards, and he says in his little white book, the wands are building blocks. And I mean, a board is a building block, isn't it? A plank is a building block. So you have boards with nails sticking out of them all through this suit, which is odd for me because I think of battens as the suit of fire, and I see fire as more of a thing about values, energy, something actually immaterial. So there's a disagreement, and even though I disagree with a lot of his interpretations and a lot of the structure that he works with in his tarot and in his little white book, I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. I like it that tarotists disagree. I'll tell you why in a second. Here's the suit of bottles, and this is a bit easier to deal with for me because, you know, they are containing water, so symbolically they are very similar to cups. And as I say, I find the colour palette absolutely wonderful. Ooh, there's a board. It should have been up there. So I'm sad that it's not really going to be possible for me to read with this deck, I don't think. Yeah, the reason why I don't think it's a bad thing that tarotists can disagree quite fundamentally. I mean, here we are in the suit of swords, and the swords have become guns. So there is again some sort of slippage of symbolism in a way, because a sword can, as he said, a sword can edit. A knife can cut and edit. I think if you try to edit something with a gun, you might be left with a big, you know, an exit wound. And here, most controversially, the tablets. Now, what I want to say is I like it that tarotists disagree, because if all tarotists agreed, then it would be possible to teach tarot in universities. And as soon as you can teach something in universities, it's dead, isn't it? A bit like pop music being taught in universities. That means it's no longer a popular art form, and that means it's maybe lost its roots and lost its energy. So I think it's great that people do tarot in wildly divergent forms. And here we have, the pentacles have turned into tablets. They turned into iPads, which for me is really strange, because for me the pentacles are earth, and earth is matter, and computers are that which is immaterial. In my understanding of the four elements. But as I say, really nice. I've kept the court cards separately because there's something I want to say about them. He has traced, as I say, he's traced the RWS, and so you've always got the presence of the RWS behind this, overshadowing this deck, which I think is really nice. But so for example, the Queen of Boards, Queen of Battens is facing us as she did in the RWS. The Page has got this body language with the head going that way, and the King is looking to the left as he does in the RWS. But with the Knights, he's clearly decided that horses are not really going to work in his modern vision. And so the Knights are completely reimagined. There is, even though the Knight of Boards is looking left, it's not really overshadowed, or it's not really doesn't have the imprint of the RWS on it. There are some decks, like for example the Ghetto Tarot, where the horses have been replaced by motorbikes or bicycles or buses, and I find that interesting. Here we have Page of Bottles, used to be Page of Cups. And again, similar body language. The Queen of Bottles being completely flooded there, but it's a very witty reinterpretation of that image. And the King of Bottles, his throne has become an armchair, maybe in a club or something. And then Knight of Bottles, Knight of Cups. Well, again, he's looking right. But apart from that, one feels it's quite a long way away. And this is not exactly a criticism on an art level. It's just that when I read, I need to be able to make very, very fast connections. And if I have to stop and think, what is this card according to my system, it slows me down and I get kind of discombobulated and I can't read. I have some tarots that I really like very much, but the court cards, they have to be clear to me, because I find court cards are always, they require a little bit more concentration to read than the rest of the tarot. So this is Page of Swords, looking left. There's the Knight, a bit strange. Queen of Swords, the throne is still there. King of Swords, now a gangster holding up a taxi. A wonderful image, and facing full on like we're used to. And then Knight of Swords. Well, it has the energy, I think it's a lady here, she has the energy of Knight of Guns here, has the energy of the Knight of Swords, but has the aggression. But, well, as a Brit, I'm not quite sure what's going on here, I have to say. It looks like something in between a crime and a sport. And here are the tablets that used to be pentacles, and the Page holding the tablet up. Nice image. I'll put the Knight last. The Queen, there we have a male Queen. Yeah. I mean, I'm a gay man, and I like the sexes to be all as they were, because there's enough queerness in my life anyway. But I have no objections. And there's the King of Tablets, used to be King of Pentacles. And this airy quality, I mean, this is an airy intellectual person, which, again, for me, feels very, very different from the traditional idea of the King of Pentacles, who for me is someone who has access to wealth and riches and the material world. And here again, the Knight of Pentacles, he's looking right like he used to, Knight of Tablets, but I think it's probably because David Aaron Smith has a different understanding of this suit from me. If he's on a mono, the original RWS Knight of Pentacles is on a very heavy horse, and there is a feeling of great stability and great connection with the earth. I find this image really a diametric opposite. I find it very light. It's very much about balance. It's very much about, it's very charming, but it's not exactly feet on the ground. So anyway, that was the New American Tarot. Of course, you could read with it if you wanted to, and I completely applaud it in its execution and its images. I think it's a gorgeous thing, and I'm very happy that I have it. I will probably take it out and look at it and enjoy it, and I might use the Major Arcana for reading. So that's all from me. My brain is a bit slow, everyone. I think it's the virus eating away the synapses, but hopefully I'll be back soon in better shape. You've been watching Robert Farah of Tea and Tarot, or at least my hands, and I wish you all health and happiness. Bye.